Well, good evening, everyone. Hope you're well. On tonight's show, I've got Rebecca Lowries on, amazing lady, and good evening, Memphis. She's over in Memphis at the moment. It's 12:30. It's 6:30 in the UK. And you know what you're listening to, don't you? If you don't know, I'll remind you. Yeah, bringing you interesting guests, help you on your journey, whatever that is. Yeah, Rebecca, what a great girl. Thanks for being on the show, Rebecca. I hope you have a great time in Memphis. And whatever anyone else is doing this week, have a good one. Don't forget my show on a Friday night, 7 till 8, the New Country Show, Radio Warwickshire. And as always, sit back, relax, and grab a coffee. Oh, yeah. Well, good evening, people. And like I said, I've got Rebecca Lowries on tonight. So I'm really pleased to have her on the show. It's someone that I met several months ago. And unfortunately, this is one tip for you. If you've got any technology, please back it up, because we spent a great 30 minutes, had a fantastic interview. My iPhone packed up and I lost the interview. And it's took a while to get to this point. So good evening, Rebecca.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me back.
No, I'm really, because that interview was brilliant, and we won't talk too much about that. But that was a great interview, but for me, I got to know you a bit better on that morning, so that's a good thing anyway. So I've got to understand you a bit better.
Yeah, we still got to have the chat, just no one else got to hear it.
Well, fair enough. I enjoyed it anyway. I can remember it, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I obviously saw you last week on doing a Facebook Live, and was really interested because you've launched your business and you're doing some stuff that I think's exciting for people. So do you want to talk a bit about what you're currently doing?
Sure, thank you. So I've just launched a new business called Self Alchemy, and it's taking all of the skills and tools and resources and practices and everything I've pretty much learned in my life up to now, which have come out of the kind of self-awareness, personal development world, healing and that kind of thing, and adapting it for businesses, business owners, business leaders, because I see a real shift in how businesses and business owners need to grow and evolve. And I think that the way forward is about being more embodied. You know, up till, I don't know, maybe forever, it's been a lot of a mental, analytical, use your mind process of growth and working out business strategy and business solutions. But what I'm seeing and hearing so much now is that kind of paradigm is shifting, and people are starting to understand and value the body and the wisdom from the body and the body-mind connection, and how you need to have both in place. And then you've got access to more wisdom and more possibilities and more solutions.
Yeah. So what you described there, then I'd say it's the old way of thinking and the old corporate world. Looking through the world in old lenses. I think what you're trying to say is we need to start looking through new lenses, and there's a different way. We're evolving now. Businesses are evolving. We have to do things differently, don't we?
Right. And I think that a lot of the different thing that's coming is about a different way of creating relationships with the people we work with, whether that's, employees or contractors or staff or our colleagues. And of course, social media, everyone has to be on social media, even corporations. And so we didn't used to have to be so out and open, and now we do. And it's how do we do that in a way that is authentic and in line with our vision and purpose, and in line with the vision and purpose of the company? How do we get everyone who works with us in line with that? So I think that's a big part of it. And for that, you have to even know what your vision and purpose is, and then get in alignment with it. So that's a big part of it. Another part of it I see is what I call either conscious leadership, or I've seen Jeff Weiner, who is the CEO of LinkedIn, calling it compassionate leadership. And it's a different way of connecting with your audience, whether that's your, customers and clients and buyers, or whether that's with the people in-house. It's a new way of relating, a new way of connecting, and it what I see is that it takes some self-development work to be able to do it, because you have to be quite sure of yourself and have some self-confidence and self-esteem in order to bring all of who you are into the connection with others. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. And I think, well, what do you think? Do you think it's a big push on that is the development of social media, where in way back when these corporations that are running these big corporations, or even little corporations, little businesses, were behind closed doors and no one really saw what was going on. But now, anything that goes wrong or anything that people say are in a split second is well, is online, and it's online
Right.
forever. Do you think that's had a big push on it?
Well, it's an interesting question. I was talking to somebody recently about this chicken and egg thing. Is it social media that's brought us all out and now we have to connect and be open and talk to one another? And same with corporations, they have to be seen and they have to have a personality. Or what is it, something else that's brought us social media? Is there, because the basic human need is to be seen and acknowledged. We want to connect. And so I wonder, did that come first, which is what created social media, which has led us to a new way of connecting? So I don't know which has come
Hmm,
first.
that's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah,
Yeah, it could be, it could be either, couldn't it?
yeah, you're right, because a lot of people are in business, and this show's about encouraging people to start their own businesses. And I think the younger generation that are coming through now have only ever lived with social media, haven't they? If I
Mm.
look at my youngest lad, he's never known, he don't even remember dial-up. So never mind before. But people don't remember it, do they? Don't even remember that, and that's not a long time ago. I think there's a different when the generations that's coming through now have a different way of looking at the world because of what they've been exposed to.
That's right. And like anything, it has its pros and cons, benefits and drawbacks, because there is a way to be more connected with people all around the world. So that, the internet and social media is fabulous for that. But also, so many people I see are comparing their worst day to somebody else's Photoshop day, And so then you think, oh, people are thinking, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm kind of crap. Because they see them, themselves on the days that they're sitting home in their pajamas eating popcorn, unable to get out of bed. And they're comparing that with someone else's day of, oh, look, today's the greatest day I've ever had. I got to meet someone, or I delivered a speech, or I did this great thing. What they don't realize is that same person was probably in bed under the duvet the day before, feeling like they weren't enough, or, having their own issues to go through. So I think there's benefits and drawbacks to that, like there is to anything. And young people don't know the difference. Like you said, your son hasn't lived at a time where there wasn't social media.
Yeah, and there's a lot like that. I mean, it's very easy to get drawn into it and see. I've switched off to it now, where I was watching. This was a bit back, probably last year, really. And I was looking at a lot of my friends, as it were, business friends, business
Mm.
associates, and all the stuff they were doing. I was like, God, they're doing that, and he's doing that, and she's doing that, and oh my, and I'm like, I'm not moving. I nearly stopped doing what I was doing because of it. I was like, I got to the point where I was like, hang on, my stuff's not moving. But actually, it was.
Mm.
It's just people are probably looking at me. You know what I mean? It can send you insane if you focus on it too much, I think.
Well, and see, and all of this, I think, is exactly why, or certainly part of why, the self-awareness and personal development skills I want to bring into business are so crucial right now. Because, if you're sitting at home and either your business is struggling or you're struggling, you've got relationship issues or whatever, and you think everyone else is doing so much better, it's so easy to just crumble and not want to get out of bed. Whereas truth is, everything ebbs and flows. Everything has ups and downs. And so those people that you perceive to be having the most amazing life going on, you don't know what else is really going on for them. So if you have some self-awareness, personal development training, and actually I'm just fine as I am and it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing, and
Yeah.
you've kind of grounded and rooted in yourself, and you have tools and resources to cope with the difficult times, then you're fine. Then you're set up for success.
Yeah, I've got to that point now where I'm not really bothered. I'm not really bothered what other people are doing. I know I'm on my. I've got a clear image of where I'm going. I'm on the path, and it's irrelevant what anyone else is doing. It's nice to see what they're doing, but it doesn't affect me. It's not my journey. It's not my way. It's not my my future.
Right. And
Um,
I also think that, we're brought up in a world of belief around lack. We think there's not enough to go around. There's not enough time or
mm,
money or resources or
yeah,
success or whatever. And actually, I think we live in an abundant universe. You get what you perceive. So if you start to look for abundance, you'll see abundance. And so it's okay for everyone else to be wildly successful in their business, and you also can be.
yeah. I mean that goes back to when I was a long time ago when I was in my early career, and that's what someone taught me, and he was saying that giving up power is exponential. There's no you give someone that's working with you or for you some of your power. You don't lose power. It's exponential. It just grows. So, and people need to realise that giving someone. Enabling someone to do something for them or with them doesn't detract from anything they're doing and reduce their viability one bit. And I presume that's the sort of stuff you try to do as well, is get people to be conscious of themselves and well know what they're about and give them confidence.
Absolutely. And there's a I don't know if it's a law or a rule of life or something, but it is, if you want something in your life, give it away. So if you want more love, give love. If you want more money, give money. And because what happens is the universe sees that you believe yourself to be so abundant in that thing, and it always wants to agree with you, and energy always circulates, and love and money and all those things are an energy, they're a vibration. So as you give it out, you create a space in you for more to come in.
Yeah, I I fully get that. I do get that, and a lot of people probably sat there going, "Oh no, that's if what do you mean if I give stuff away, I'll get more coming back?" And it doesn't make logical sense. But I think you're right. If you're open and giving, and I've got a great example. I'm working with a guy that currently, and I've mentioned it before, Con, and and because I've been doing lots of stuff with people and helping them, he's like, I'm going to help you develop your website. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you because you give so much. I'm like, wow, that is just bonkers, isn't it?
That's exactly it. I read a book a while ago, I think it was by Randy Gage, and he said that this was a long time ago because he's a multi-millionaire now, but he said that, he got to a point where he was down to his last $10, and he bought, what did he do? He bought some food, and he with for $3, and he gave $7 away to a man in the
Mm,
street. And he
yes.
said, like, within 24 hours, somebody who owed him money had returned his money, a job came through. He just, his life changed. And Tony Robbins tells a similar story of,
It does. Yeah, the Tony Robinson one was, he's probably nicked it off the other fella.
yeah,
Yeah, do you
well,
know what I mean? He's probably plagiarised it. I mean, we could all say that. I did it the other week, I was down to my last 15 quid. £5 on fish and chips. And there was a guy outside. I gave him a 10. Do you know what? The next day I got 300 grand in the bank. So
right.
it doesn't matter. No,
God, if it only
but
worked that way, believe me, more people
no,
would be doing it, wouldn't they?
but you're right. I get that, and it makes sense because yeah, the universe has a strange way of working. I don't know what's out there. I don't believe. I'm not a religious. Don't believe in God, but I think there's something going on where you do. I think there's, like you said before, about vibrations, and we all give out energy. So if you're giving out lots of love, then people are more inclined to gravitate towards you. If you're giving out lots of hate,
Right.
then you're going to get more hate, aren't you?
Yeah, and I don't have all the quantum physics language to explain it all, but on a very layman's terms, we are like giant transmitters. The way that, like I say, I can't tell you in quantum physics terms, but our body and thoughts and that which animates us vibrates out at a certain frequency, and we get back equal to that frequency. So, whatever is showing up in your world is just a mirror image of what's going on internally. So if you shift what's going on internally, what turns up externally shifts. And that's why when you give love or you give money, or like you gave time and help, it comes back to you exponentially.
Yeah.
It goes out because the universe says, look, you believe yourself to be abundant in that thing. And the universe always will say yes to you. If you say, oh, I'm tired and broken and I can't go on, the universe will say, oh, you're right. And that you'll keep proving that to yourself. And if you can just change just a little bit of a thought to say, well, you know what, okay, today I'm okay. And then that starts to improve and you can start to see that and you can change your thoughts, then it starts showing up in the outside world. Although I may
Yeah.
have just gone off topic somewhere.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a problem. I've had a similar conversation with a guy that I interviewed a few weeks ago. Was on my show. So, because the businesses won't get that because they're very much focused on cash, aren't they? So we can't do X because that's going to affect our bottom line, or we can't possibly give time away to people because we should be billing for that, or we can't
Well,
give
I think
product
that's
away.
changing though, like, for example, so, I use this term conscious, and what I mean by that is just being very aware of your actions and your thoughts. And I think that businesses are becoming more conscious. So, for example, they're thinking about how do they have an impact in the world? We were talking about value and purpose and meaning earlier, and I think that employees, especially millennials, are going into companies, and yes, they need to be paid and they want to be paid, but money itself isn't enough of a motivator anymore. So employees want to work for a company that has similar values to them, and those companies are looking at how can we have a bigger impact besides just in the products we sell. How can we have a social impact? And I see examples of it in there's a scrubs company, and I can't remember their name, unfortunately, but every pair of scrubs that you buy from them, they donate a pair of scrubs to a developing country. Tom's Shoes also is the same. I don't know if you know Tom's Shoes, but every pair of shoes that you buy, they donate a pair of shoes to developing country. And in fact,
Yeah.
they have a whole program built around it that is amazing. Their program works like, I think it's Tom's, or it might be the Scrubs company, but what they do is, so it's been proven that if you do a kind act, it changes your physiology. It lowers your cortisol and it makes you feel all good inside. The person who's on the receiving end of that kind act, it also changes their physiology. So it's all good and healthy for you. But they've also proven that if you witness the act, if you see someone do something nice for someone else, it also changes your
Mm.
physiology. So it's really good for your mental, emotional, physical health to be involved in those kinds of acts of kindness. And these companies have learned that. I don't know how, but they have. And so I think it's the Scrubs company, but they have a program where they take all the scrubs and they take employees with them to these developing countries, and they make a whole big deal out of handing the stuff over and having people there to witness it so that everyone benefits from the generous act. And who
Mm.
wouldn't want to work for that kind of company? Because it makes you feel like you are having an impact.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's not the same, but if you look at when the industrial age started, that was very similar because some of the old companies did, like Salt up in the northwest, they Saltar, sorry, in the northwest. What they did, they obviously put housing up for people and little schools for their employees and things like that. So it's probably the modern day version of that. If you want to keep your employees engaged and retain the best people, then you have to obviously give them what they need. Otherwise, they'll move to another company, won't they? They'll just
Right.
up and leave, and then you're losing all that investment in time and training and energy that you've got to get other people involved in.
Yeah, and that's a really great. I can't think of the word, but you're right about the housing and schools. Companies have always needed to provide something other than just money. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe the 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, that
Mm,
were a little bit different. Everything was very
yeah.
money focused. But that would have created a vacuum of, God, I just go to work and it's just for the money and that's destroying my soul. And so now companies, I think, are starting to recognize, having some sort of social impact, doing something good for charity makes them look good and it makes their employees feel good. So it's got benefit for that. But also, I think companies are starting to see the value in offering their employees and staff self-awareness training. In fact, how to create leaders out of everyone in your company. In fact, you almost want to grow them out of your company because they're going to
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about you so good. They're going to, it's
Yeah.
good for you to do that.
Yeah, and almost I think what some of these, not some of the traditional businesses, and that's where you need to get in and get involved with them.
Would love to.
But some of the newer businesses, they're actually treating their employees as entrepreneurs, as if
Right.
they're only been that well, they call it intrapreneurs, don't they? So it's a bit like when you see some of these businesses now, and they've got table tennis tables and they've got hangout areas and bean bags, and a lot of older people look and go, "Oh, shouldn't they be doing some work?" But they choose when to do the work and then go, "Oh, let's go and have a quick game of table tennis, or let's go and hang out for an hour and have a bit of a break." And they're working when they're not working, aren't they?
That's right. It could be that they're marinating ideas in their mind. They're making connections with the people they work with. I certainly know, like, I will open my inbox, read all the emails, and then I need to go away and let it sink into my brain a little bit. I'll go for a walk, or God knows, go on Facebook or whatever it is, but I'm working. It's in the back, marinating, it's stewing, and then I can go back and answer all the emails really well. So, and everyone works differently, but I think, the ping pong tables and the bean bags work for some companies. It gives staff a way to connect with each other. It gives them a different way to be creative. I think just sitting at your desk staring at a laptop is not always conducive to creativity. That's why when people talk about some of their best ideas happen in the shower, at the gym, or when they're on holiday, because you need space away from that thing for ideas to pop up, which is some of
Yeah.
the things I teach too. How can you access different parts of you at work and have more access to more creative solutions, I suppose. And there's ways to not have to go on holiday to do it. Holiday's great, but to go into your body, listen to your body's wisdom, your body's intuition. And then you have access to so much more thought, creativity, possibility.
Yeah, and all that from a business point of view keeps you one step ahead of the competition, doesn't it? And it gives
Exactly.
you can innovate for new ideas and sort of see changes that are coming, rather being because if your employees are happy and content and feel valued and feel a sense of worth, then they're going to be more productive than they are unless they just they come in at 9 till 5, clock in, clock out, and you I know people aren't like that, but you're almost stood behind them with a whip for those 8 hours a day. They're just gonna do the minimum amount. They're not going to be creative because they feel oppressed.
That's right. Do you know, Simon Sinek tells a story of he met a see, he was at a hotel in America somewhere, and he was talking to the chap making his coffee, and he said, do you like your job? And he said, I love my job here. It's this and it's that. He was very animated and really enjoyed his job. And he said, what is it that you like about it? And he said, every day at 9 a.m., the boss comes down and says, hey, how are you doing? And he said, that's it. He said, that's it. The boss comes down and says, hey, how are you doing? Every morning, 9 o'clock. And he said, and I work at this other hotel, and I hate it. I go in, nobody knows my name. I don't know anyone's name. I don't talk to anyone. I do the job and I leave. And he said, why? He said, because there's no culture of getting to know anyone there. The boss is elusive and arrogant. And, all it took for that guy to be really friendly and talk to Simon and be animated, enjoy his job and talk about the workplace as somewhere great was that the boss acknowledged him once a day. I was going to say, what Simon says is that, so what he got as the customer, he got this guy in his best possible mood, offering his best service. But if he'd met him at the other hotel, he would have just been a miserable git serving a coffee and not even looked him in the eye. And that was because the boss made contact and said hello.
And that goes back to the previous comment earlier on in the interview where you were saying about um, giving things off. Think giving what you're giving out, you get back. But actually, that not boss didn't only get it back. That person changed their mindset, which has affected another individual. So, and then the customer's going to feel great, and he's going to go away and back. Oh boy, it was great in that place where I stayed. Why? I don't know. It was just the guy serving the coffee was really friendly, and he'll go, "Is that all it was?" Yeah, it was just great. The coffee might not have even been brilliant, but yeah, it was brilliant. It was a great hotel to go to, or a bar or whatever it is.
That's
So
it.
it's just ongoing, isn't it?
Well, one of the things that fascinates me is that any I don't want to use the word hierarchy, any kind of business or even like a workshop or organization where there is, someone at the top, the whatever's going on in the organization usually is filtering down, either consciously and obviously, the person at the top is a mean person, so no one likes going to work. I mean, that's kind of very a flat way of looking at it, but just a quick example. Or, the person, like in the example from Simon Sinek, the boss had enough self-confidence and self-assurance and he was clearly being responsible and accountable in his life for his own well-being, that he could bring that to work and share it. And when he shared it, there was more to go around because then his employees were sharing it. And then that cheered up the customers who shared it, who then talked good about the company. Whereas the other place, I don't know what was going on for the bosses there, but what they were bringing in was not connecting. Who knows what's going on for them, but they weren't being accountable and responsible for themselves, and it trickled down. And people went in with their head down and didn't talk to each other, and no one liked going in for coffee. So I think one of my dreams is to keep working with the business owners so that they can transform their businesses by transforming themselves.
Yeah.
Because that's where it comes from.
And all too often, people in the two scenarios we've been talking about, the hotel where the guy never spoke probably's got a high churn of staff. There's probably
That's right.
Guy, he probably and they'll probably blame. Well, what's the problem? It must be the staff. It must be what's wrong with these? They're probably not getting enough money. Do we have to give them more money? Do we? And looking at all the wrong reasons, apart from actually go and look in the mirror. It's you.
That's
where, and that's what we need more of, because if you go to you want to feel, everyone wants to feel happy wherever they go, don't they? Well, don't want conflict, and you don't want someone serving them that's miserable. You want to be connected to them as well as them be connected to you, because that makes everybody feel better. So, yeah, it's so I bet the other business, their business is probably more profitable. They probably keep retaining the staff. Staff will go over and above what they need to do. If that boss asks that guy to stay back in that business and do an extra couple of hours, he'd probably say, "Yeah, not a problem, boss. I'll do it for you." So they'll go the extra mile.
Exactly, which ultimately, saves them money because they don't have to retrain new staff coming in all the time. They're almost getting, dare I say, like free advertising, because people are leaving there and they're going to talk good about the place. The staff are talking good about the place. The customers are talking good because they go in, they feel good. Like you said, there's a connection. And ultimately, that's what everyone's looking for, is connection. So you can give it to them through selling them a coffee or a train ticket or, anything.
Yeah, and I think, because obviously on this show, I'll probably get a lot of people listening that are either thinking of doing employment for themselves or are working for themselves. And I hope they're going to take the message away that what we're discussing is not just about big corporations and the Apples of this world and the big people like that. It's actually, if an individual starts to act like that, then that will help their business.
Exactly. I mean, I think of it like this. You are the epicenter of your life. And so whatever's going on in you, whatever frequency you're vibrating out, whatever thoughts are coming off you, whatever feelings are coming off you, they're going out in a 360 circle around you and having an impact, whether you're aware of it or not. If you want the people around you to feel good and connect with you and talk to you and feel like they can work with you in some way, whether that's as an employee or as someone who's buying your service or product, then you need to be responsible for what you're putting out. And I don't want anyone to get this wrong. I don't want that to mean I have to pretend to be happy all the time or pretend to be something I'm not. Absolutely not. What it really means is being, I'm going to use an overused word, but I really like it, is being authentic. Today I'm tired, but I'm going to say I'm tired, so let's talk for 5 minutes instead of 20 minutes. And then someone's getting the real you, not some made up you trying to overrun your boundaries to give something you don't have to give.
Yeah, and that I had a podcast interview a couple of weeks ago with Jack the Bear, and he said exactly the same about being authentic. And to be authentic, you have to be authentic. You can't manufacture being authentic, because by their very definition,
that's it.
You're not. He said it's a very binary situation. Either you are or you're not. I mean, I met someone today, and he was at my networking group, and he was stood on his own, and he didn't look too chuffed, and he was isolating himself. And I went and had a bit of a chat, and he was on his phone and everything. But later when I got to talk to him, he said, "I didn't want to be here today," and I knew. Do you know what I mean? I didn't
Yeah.
want to be here today. I've only come because I said I was going to come, and then, but we ended up having a good conversation, a good chat about what he was having problems with. But I could have quite easily ignored him,
Yeah.
because it's my group. I've got to go and see what's wrong. He was on his own and it wasn't right. So you spot on. I could sense that there's something wrong with him.
Yeah. Yeah. And isn't it beautiful? So you clearly put out something that says that you are safe to talk to, because he could have just said, oh, I'm fine. I have to do something on my phone. But instead, he opened up to you.
Yeah, it's great. Well, I tried to be open and honest and try and put that out there. But yeah, he did. He just said I wasn't going to come today. I didn't want to be. I won't go into details, but he told me why he wasn't happy about being there and what was going on in his business, etc. And hopefully, sent him away with a few ideas. So he might actually have come in very fed up and gone away thinking, well, actually, yeah, I'm glad I went now. So
And what's beautiful is that in a way he was being authentic, even though he wasn't,
yeah.
and you went and spoke to him, and then you both had a meaningful connection. You both had a moment together, which is lovely. You may have changed his day.
Yeah, because if he'd have been not been authentic and all smiley, yeah, everything's great, I'd have never known, and he'd have still been miserable inside as well. So,
Well,
yeah,
in fact, I reckon you would have, if he was pretending, you would have felt that he was, and would have
yeah,
unconsciously, not trusted him. You know.
exactly. Yeah, I can sniff it a mile away. I don't know if anyone else can, but I can sniff it a mile away. Right, we've talked and talked and talked.
I could talk to you forever, so.
I know. So I think what we need to do, we need to tell everybody where they can find you, where your website is, etc., all that sort of usual stuff.
Okay, fantastic. Well, my website is self-alchemy.com. So there's lots of information on there. What else? I'm on Facebook as Rebecca Lowrie, and Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram, because you have to be everywhere these days, is Rebecca Lowrie, I think, in all those places. And if I don't come up under my name, look for Self Alchemy.
Brilliant. Well, it's been wonderful to record this again.
Yeah, thank you. Hope this
But
one stick.
this time I've got a system. As soon as I press stop recording, it sends it to Dropbox, so I'm covered. Well, thanks very much. Have a great time and good luck with what you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. Always good to talk with you.
And you. See ya.
Cheers.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, people. That was Rebecca Lowrie. She's over in Memphis at the moment. Have a great time. She knows her stuff. Thanks for tuning in as always. If you're listening on iTunes, please subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And share this with other people. It's important. You never know, it might help someone out. I know I'm a bit bonkers, but you know who I am. Yeah, I've got some great guests lined up, some interesting people coming up. I'm not going to say too much, but got some crackers. Don't forget, listen to Radio Warwickshire on a Friday night, 7 to 8 for the New Country Show. There's some great stuff on our website, radiowarwickshire.com. Get on there. See ya!